It actually took a very tough beating to get me out of the sport. Manny Pacquiao.
Did it ever cross your mind what thoughts raced through a legend's head as he returns to the arena after a long absence? Have you ever stopped to consider whether this seasoned fighter can reignite the fierce determination that once made him unbeatable?
Beat the hell out of me. Manny Pacquiao would be right in front of me. He would, after hitting me 15 times.
OscarDeLaHoya found himself in the gym, surrounded by the rhythmic thuds of gloves hitting punching bags, watching a well-known silhouette practicing shadowboxing with the same fierce energy that once marked his peak. Although boxing is often seen as a sport for the young, Manny Pacquiao, now 46, and having stepped away from official bouts for 4 years, displayed a velocity and intensity that shattered all assumptions.
And then I would be ready to hit him, and he would be wide open, and I couldn't pull the trigger. I just couldn't pull the
De La Hoya arrived to discover whether the legend's power still resided in those hands, and what he encountered was a warrior who returned not out of sentiment but driven by the raw excitement of combat.
I still remember to this day the conversation I had with Oscar when I first told him, hey, you should fight Pacquiao.
After going through intense sparring sessions and grueling drills alongside Pacquiao, De La Hoya's first words echoed sharply across the gym. He didn't dwell on the years gone by, nor did he gloss over his own achievements or the immense legacy Pacquiao carried. Instead, with a voice filled with both admiration and astonishment, he spoke about the relentless spirit in every punch, the fire behind every sequence, and the unmistakable gleam that still flickered in Pacquiao's eyes.
Oscar laughed. He's too little. He's too little, that guy. There's a difference of almost 20 pounds.
De La Hoya spoke about how Pacquiao, the fighter who shattered records by winning championships across 8 weight divisions, now trained with the exactness of a skilled surgeon combined with the fierce energy of a youth. Every strike was calculated, yet powerful, and his footwork drills carried the memory of over 40 years of battles inside the ring. De La Hoya confessed he had underestimated how sharp Pacquiao's edge remained despite the passing years.
People want to see that fight. People are excited. He's the guy that's coming up. He's fast, Oscar, but eventually your size is going to break him down.
The discussion soon shifted to what drove Pacquiao to come back, prompting De La Hoya to voice the question on everyone's mind. Why make a return when there was seemingly nothing left to prove? Pacquiao's answer was straightforward or deep, passion for boxing itself, and an insatiable desire to compete against the best. That simple truth hit harder than any knockout punch. De La Hoya acknowledged with a nod that true warriors never truly hang up their gloves. They merely bide their time until the next battle calls them back. Observing Pacquiao in motion, De La Hoya saw that the lightning-fast reflexes and devastating power that once intimidated foes were still very much alive. Those 4 years away from official fights had done more than give his body rest. They had fueled a fiercer flame at 46. Pacquiao's comeback shattered all expectations. For decades, younger contenders had stepped up, aiming to dethrone the legends. But Pacquiao's return was different. It was the humble resurgence of a legend, eager to prove himself against the vigor of youth. De La Hoya remembered their first sparring session, facing a southpaw so slippery he couldn't land a clean hit. That was Pacquiao, emerging once again from the shadows and reminding the world why his name is forever carved into boxing history.
Not right. I can see it in his eyes. He's not even throwing punches. What is he doing?
Pacquiao swings his left hand for De La Hoya's guard.
De La Hoya recounted tales he'd heard of Pacquiao's relentless discipline running at daybreak, meditating as the sun set, and balancing church visits alongside work at MIT. He described a routine that blended physical rigor with spiritual focus, setting a standard that made every other training camp seem like mere practice. While skeptics once doubted Pacquiao's age wouldn't catch up to him, De La Hoya's vivid memories told a different story. It only honed his edge sharper. Then, reflecting on their own fight years before, De La Hoya didn't shy away from admitting the damage he took, 15 exacting punches, each hitting like a powerful sermon. He spoke openly about entering the ring ill-prepared, the mistakes he made cutting weight that sapped his energy, and the instant he realized he wasn't just up against a man, but a true force of nature. That memory, De La Hoya confessed, lingered with him but now stood as proof of Pacquiao's lasting greatness. Shifting to sparring, De La Hoya explained how Pacquiao's camp, despite poor camera angles, maintained a strong culture of respect and trust. He mentioned secret footage, rare glimpses of training sessions that slipped out but remained protected by a code no fighter would break. Even in these private moments, Pacquiao moved with the agility of someone much younger, his combinations sharp, his angles unpredictable. De La Hoya noted that beneath it all, the warrior's instincts stayed razor-sharp.
He had no legs, he had no pop, he had no punch.
He described how close quarters drills laid bare Pacquiao's refusal to rely on any safety nets. There were no soft landings, no easy ways out. According to De La Hoya, Pacquiao attacked every exercise like it was fight night itself, as if his legacy hinged on each precise left hook and every sharp pivot. It was the relentless work ethic of a man driven not merely to reclaim past triumphs, but to carve out an entirely new legacy. As De La Hoya spoke, the story unfolded. Pacquiao's rise from a teenage prodigy to a global icon, his shift from politics back to the ring, all culminating in this pivotal moment. The forthcoming bout with Mario Barrios wasn't a mere side show, it was a declaration. De La Hoya cautioned that Barrios, though younger and hungry, was about to encounter a challenge unlike any before. Pacquiao's achievements spoke volumes, but it was the blazing fire in his eyes that convinced La Hoya this wasn't an exhibition, this was a genuine attempt to defy the passage of time in those critical final rounds. De La Hoya urged Pacquiao to hold on to the joy that first drew him to boxing. He reminded him that every champion carries not only the dreams of millions of fans but also the hopes of young fighters watching and aspiring. De La Hoya's final thought was clear: legends never truly fade. They fall only to rise again. Watching Mario Barrios shadowboxing across from Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya chuckled at the sight.
Pacquiao is making De La Hoya look old, slow, ineffectual. De La Hoya has zero answers.
Before him stood a fighter, in his prime muscles taut, eyes locked, trying to outpace the shadow of a legend. Barrios countered with fast combinations, but Pacquiao moved effortlessly around him, arms relaxed, and feet nimble. De La Hoya reflected that this was the oldest tactic in boxing. Quiet the young lion by proving you can still roar. He observed that Barrios possessed all the skills but lacked the knowledge to break a seasoned warrior's rhythm. The atmosphere surged as the coach shouted speed, and Barrios unleashed a flurry of jabs. Pacquiao dodged and weaved, not just defending but teasing his opponent. De La Hoya spotted that familiar spark, the grin Pacquiao wore after every missed punch, the smile of a man confident he still held the keys to the kingdom. He claimed that grin alone could shatter Barrios' confidence before the fight even began. According to De La Hoya, the outcome would depend less on raw power and more on psychological warfare. He recalled his own early career when a jab felt like a missile strike and wondered if Barrios truly understood that a veteran's jab carried decades of pain and intent. He warned that while strength may fade, precision endures. To him, that jab was the herald announcing Pacquiao's triumphant return.
I was scared. I just, you know what? Spark's not there. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it.
The gym fell silent as Pacquiao shifted into defensive drills. He absorbed rapid-fire combinations before snapping a counterpunch that sent the bag swinging back. De La Hoya admired how Pacquiao's defense blended the grace of a classical dancer with the precision of a sharpened blade. He scoffed at modern coaches obsessed with high-tech gadgets, insisting that true defense is born from countless grueling rounds soaked in sweat and grit. No machine, he argued, could mimic the instincts forged in real combat. He emphasized that Pacquiao's instincts remained far keener than any algorithm could ever be.
Wouldn't have loved to fight Pacquiao again because he kicked my ass. Right? But yeah, there were many fighters out there who I would have loved to fight 2 or 3 times.
De La Hoya's tone deepened as he reflected on the bigger picture. Pacquiao wasn't just facing Barrios, he was battling the relentless march of time itself. He posed a rhetorical question: who really comprehends the toll that 40 years of boxing takes on a man's body and spirit? He refused to sugarcoat it, pointing out the scars, the lingering pain, and the restless nights when even the greatest fighters crave peace. Yet despite all that, Pacquiao chose the ring over comfort. De La Hoya declared that very decision to be the most powerful strike of all.
You know what? So you had enough of Pacquiao is what you're saying.
Oh, trust me. Right when I walked into the ring, I had enough of Pacquiao.
De La Hoya recalled a funny moment when Pacquiao paused during drills to correct Barrios' footwork. Barrios' eyes widened as Pacquiao pointed out a tiny, crucial detail. De La Hoya described the scene as watching an old master school, a rookie without mercy. He stressed that teaching demands true mastery, and only masters can teach. With a grin, he added that if Barrios felt embarrassed, it meant he still hadn't learned the toughest lesson the ring teaches. Then De La Hoya talked about how gym staff cleared the space when Pacquiao started his speed drills. The atmosphere shifted into a hushed cathedral, with each punch sounding like a solemn prayer. He joked that if every athlete devoted half as much focus as Pacquiao did, boxing would be filled with saints in gloves. Dedication, he said, was rare and Pacquiao wore it like armor. This quiet ritual, De La Hoya insisted, revealed more about a fighter than any highlight reel ever could. The story then moved to recovery. De La Hoya explained how muscle tears and joint aches greet every veteran fighter at sunrise. He teased that Barrios probably thought soreness was just a rumor. He laid out Pacquiao's routine: cold baths, massages, and strict rest compared to modern athletes indulging in ease and comfort. De La Hoya emphasized that disciplined recovery was the hidden key behind every great comeback.
When you got in the ring?
Oh, well, Rich, this documentary, my gosh, it's sad too at the end because it shows the whole Pacquiao situation.
De La Hoya painted a vivid picture of Pacquiao kneeling in quiet prayer before training. He spoke candidly. Faith had always been Pacquiao's steady anchor. It wasn't sentimentality. It was a source of strategic calm. De La Hoya warned that underestimating a fighter's inner peace was as reckless as ignoring his footwork. That peace gave Pacquiao razor-sharp clarity amid chaos, ensuring every punch landed with purpose. He recalled the moment Pacquiao hoisted a weight heavier than any Barrios could bench press, moving with the grace of a cat, stalking its prey muscles, coiling and releasing in perfect rhythm. De La Hoya dismissed the myth that age equals weakness, noting that true strength peaks when mind and body move as one. He declared this harmony the real wellspring of power. Shifting focus, he described boxing as half physical and half belief. Whoever believes hardest often wins. Pacquiao's unshakable faith in his mission stood in stark contrast to Barrios' flickers of doubt when punches missed or breath tightened. De La Hoya concluded that fighters carry their destiny in their minds, and Pacquiao's mind remained rock solid.